Welcome to another video from Far North Bushcraft and Survival. Connie and I have been hankering to get out and do some hot tent camping, and the season has finally arrived. So I hope you come along with us. Let's get out in the backcountry of Alaska and do a camp out. Now, when Connie and I go camping, we are what is popularly called gram weenies. Every ounce counts. Let me show you what we're talking about. Oh, did I say gram weenies? Perhaps I meant ton weenies. We like to go in style and in comfort. Guess we're gonna have to unhook the trailer. I'll unhook the trailer, run the four-wheeler up a little bit, pack a trail, and then come back and I'll tie some cordage. I'll see if I can tie some cordage to the tongue of the trailer, see if I can pull it over this hump here.
Well, we made it to our spot that we were trying to get to. Just now starting to set up camp. There was more snow back in here than we thought there would be. Well, we're inside the tent. Got the fire going, heating up a pot of water for dinner tonight. The first night's dinner is always just something simple because we're tired from packing and getting in here. Lonnie's working on the beds over there. I've got my table here, my chair, and food tote. Nice to be in where it's warm.
Connie's fixing me up a breakfast this morning of sausage. There's bell peppers in there and mushrooms and eggs. I'm looking forward to it.
So yesterday, while Lonnie was setting up the tent and the wood stove and everything, I thought I would be very helpful and go out and saw a bunch of wood. And I did. But I just guessed at how long the wood stove was that we had with us, because as you know, Lonnie has several wood stoves. And I sawed a lot of wood too long. So now I'm sawing all these pieces in half again. But like I told Lonnie, at least you're getting 2 pieces of wood now instead of just 1 piece of wood. Anyway, that's my saga of why I'm resawing all these pieces. Gives me something to do.
Well, this morning we got up, about 6 o'clock or a little earlier, and we've pretty much been just lazying around. We cut up some firewood earlier and fixed some breakfast. And right now, Kanya's putting together some macaroni and cheese with some, she's adding some Spam and peas to it. And in the meantime, she's reading a good book.
Okay, lunch is done. I added the Spam and peas to make it a little more gourmet. Not really. I wanted to share a few tips or tricks that I do when we go camping a lot. And so I'm going to show you on our food tote some of the things that I do. We keep this tote at home with all of our camping utensils and pots and pans and things down in the garage. And so this is one of the things I do. When our paper towels start getting low, I'll take them from the kitchen and just throw them in this tote. That way, it doesn't take up a lot of room in your food tote with a huge big roll of paper towels, but we all know how handy paper towels are to have. And you can judge by how long of a trip that you're going to have, of how much you think you might need. And another thing that Lonnie pointed out, you can always crush these. These just got naturally crushed from being hauled around so much, but to take up less space, you can crush the rolls. And we do the same thing with toilet paper. We always have in a Ziploc bag, and I'll when the rolls get about halfway down, I'll throw those in the toilet paper bag. And the same thing, you know how long you're going to be gone normally and about how much you think you might need, but always have plenty. And this is one other thing I did with my food tote. Tonight we're going to be making a skillet pizza in the skillet on top of the wood stove. And I knew that the pizza sauce that I brought, I knew it wasn't in a sealed container. So I put it in the bottom of a Ziploc bag, and I had all my other ingredients for my pizza in the Ziploc bag. But sure enough, in the bumpy four-wheeler ride here, and I tried to keep them upright, but this bag got tipped. So some of the pizza sauce leaked out into the bag, which wasn't a big deal since I had it sealed and it didn't make a mess in my tote on everything else. So that's something to keep in mind when you have things that might spill on your trip in. So now I'm going to show you, we're going to get started here. And to make the pizza crust, pizza dough, I put the ingredients on this baggie. It's just a basic bannock. It's 1 cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt that's in this baggie. And then we will add just enough water to make the dough the right consistency, and pat it all out into a nice round shape that fits into the skillet. And always I bring extra flour. If you get the dough too runny, you can add a little extra flour. If it's not stiff enough, or vice versa, you add water. If you need more water, you add flour. If you need more flour. So we'll get started on that. Okay, here's a couple of other things that I thought of. You older subscribers have seen this before, but we've got a lot of new subscribers that I wanted to show. Frisbees make great paper plate holders, And I just stuff a paper plates in each one, and so when one gets dirty, you just peel it off, and then you've got a clean one underneath to eat on. And then another thing that Lonnie has mentioned before, when we're doing this hot tent camping and you're using a wood stove inside of a tent, we don't burn our papers in the wood stove because they are too easily, can go up the stovepipe and put sparks and burn holes in your tent. So we just pack out all of our papers and burn them in the burn barrel when we get home.
Now this is just simple bannock recipe, or I guess you could call it a baking powder biscuit recipe. It's incredibly versatile. We've made sandwich bread out of it. You know, just make a couple of little, real thin little cakes that we pat out and use that for sandwich bread. You can make pizza out of it, as Connie is going to do tonight. And we've made tacos out of it, Navajo tacos. Incredibly useful. And it's so simple.
Okay, we let our dough rest for about 20 minutes. So now we're just patting it out and shaping it into the size to fit in our pan. And you could use a rolling pin for this, but I chose not to bring one. It works fine to do it this way with your hands. Or Lonnie suggested that instead of a rolling pin, you could just go outside and cut a branch and you know, either peel the bark or make sure it's a real nice smooth one and flour it a little bit, and that would work too. So while I'm working this dough, I wanted to talk about the ingredients. And Lonnie likes Canadian bacon. I like pepperoni, so those are the meats that we chose to bring. And the veggies we brought are green pepper, mushrooms, and olives. And the cheeses we have is mozzarella and a little bit of pepper jack for some spice. And then the sauce I talked to earlier, it's a sauce that leaked a little bit, is some homemade pizza sauce from home. And of course you can put on your pizza whatever you like. We're getting the dough, it's just about ready to put in the skillet. Now I've just oiled my skillet a little bit. Oh, something else I forgot to mention, that some people could put a little bit of oil in this dough if you want. It's not necessary, but we're just trying to keep it simple to show you how simply and how versatile this dough is and all the different things that you can make out of it. So this pan, this skillet, I just oiled it a little bit. You can use whatever you want to grease it with. Okay, finishing touches for this one will be Lonnie's pizza, and then I'll make another one too. A little bit of pepper jack on top. So Lonnie says to me, "Did you bring any tomato?" And I said, "No." "Did you bring any pineapple?" And I said, "No." Lonnie's favorite pizza is Canadian bacon and tomato or pineapple. So he said, "Well, I guess I'm only going to be a little bit spoiled tonight." And I said, "Yeah, just a little bit spoiled." Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Put on the stove. And I didn't have a lid to fit this, so we found this works great. Put a pie plate, and we were going to weight it down with a rock, but the rocks are frozen in frozen ground under the snow. So we'll just use our mandarin orange can that we're going to have some mandarin oranges with breakfast in the morning. All right, we'll show you back when it's all done. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes, and so we're going to check our pizza. I think it's probably just about done. So let's take a look. Oh yeah, that's looking good. So now I'm going to check underneath to make sure. Yep, it's lightly browned, and not burnt, which is a good thing. So let's take it off.
It's all about low heat.
Yeah, we cook it on a lower heat. Not very high flames in the stove.
That way we can cook through everything without burning the bottom.
Yeah, so that it'll warm everything through and cook everything through without burning the bottom. That's what you got to be aware of the most, is burning the bottom of your dough. But this one turned out great. Okay, I've let the pizza sit for a little bit. I like to let it sit just a bit to cool and the cheese not to be quite so hot and gooey and sticky. Cutting it up now. But I wanted to talk about these kitchen shears or scissors. I found that that's just the best thing for me. At home, I use these all the time to cut pizza. It just works really good. So we wanted to show you that you can have homemade fresh pizza while camping. Even if you don't have a camp oven, you can do it in a skillet on a stovetop. So we're going to enjoy our dinner. Wish you were all here to join us.
Connie and I are warming up our hot water bottles, our water bottles, and this is the last one. We heat them up to boiling, and then we put them in a wool sock. And Connie's got 2 of them in her sleeping bag. I'm gonna put 2 of them in my bag. And tonight we're gonna sleep warm, I hope. I saw the Silicone Pot Gripper at a thrift store, and I just had to have it. I thought, boy, that looks handy. But I couldn't help myself. I had to. I had to draw a couple eyes on it and a nose.
Yeah. So I think his little pot thing looks ridiculous, but it works. Better than burnt fingers.
Bye-bye for now.
For breakfast this last morning, Lonnie is having cornmeal, cooked cornmeal mush, and we added some mandarin oranges, and then we put in some powdered milk and water, and that would be the same as putting milk in it. And then I just brought a baggie with some raisin bran in it and some dry powdered milk in it. Then you just add water, and then I have mandarin oranges also. Stir it up, and it's just like a bowl of cold cereal that you poured milk on. Well, we're packing up and heading home. We had some spare firewood that we're stashing underneath this tree, this spruce tree. There was a stash here when we got here, so it was so nice to have some already cut up and dry. So it's pack up time. We about got the tent emptied. Now it's just putting all the puzzle pieces together to get it all to fit back in that trailer. It snowed a little bit last night. Not much. But it just makes for the tent to be all very wet, and we'll have to take it all home and dry everything out. Repack it. There's a little bit more wood for me to stack under the tree. And just the food tote is about all that's left in here. Lonnie put these liners on this tent this time We've never used those before. These white sheets make kind of an extra layer. And we were thinking that we were really glad they were on. It must have added some extra warmth. So it's sad to say goodbye to our trip, but time to go home.
I hope you enjoyed coming along on this adventure with Connie and I, and we hope to see you on our next video. You folks take care. Have a good one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and give it a thumbs up and to share it, as well as subscribe so you don't miss any more. And check out these suggested videos here. Thank you.